It's another time for us to have our radio lecture. Your faithful servant, Dr. SETH, DEDE ANSAH. I'm here to take you through EDC 121, Introduction to Educational Technology. Today, the topic that we are going to discuss is why learning theories matter in a tech-driven classroom. Why learning theories matter in a tech-driven classroom. So we are going to look at learning and how it has been described by various schools of thought and see how this description or definition that have been made of learning, how it influences our choices and our decisions and our judgment as teachers in a tech-driven classroom. So that is what we are going to discuss today. We always want it to be interactive, so along the line we will open the phone line, activate the WhatsApp handles and Twitter and all of them, so that you can come in with your questions and your concerns for us to make the lesson an interactive one. So get ready, take your pens and your notebooks and be part of this lesson. Okay, so let us start by looking at the basic foundations and the principles of those learning theories. As we have discussed in class earlier, the paradigms of learning talk about the various theories that come together, or those similar theories that come together to describe learning in a similar way, in a particular way. So under behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism that we have been looking at, all of them, because they are paradigms, they have several theories and propounders of such theories that come under them. But they are a paradigm because a number of theories have something in common. They all point at something. They all describe learning in a particular way. So we call them a paradigm. So in this case, when we are looking at, because our prime aim is to look at how technology could be applied or employed in our classroom, we wouldn't like to spend too much time trying to explain the learning theory. So we will look at their key principles, and then we see how these principles will make them different from other theories or other paradigms, so that we see how technology can come in when we are looking at learning in those ways. So the first paradigm, which is behaviorism, all the things that we have said about it in classroom, or all those things that we can read on behaviorism, we are reducing it to 3 key principles. Then based on that, we see how best these principles will make them outstanding from the others. So for behaviorism, irrespective of whichever, that classical, operant, or whatever, all of them see learning, or they perceive learning to be, or to come as a result of reinforcement and punishment. So learning comes through reinforcement and punishment, which means that because we want to see the learners changing their behavior or showing some kind of behavior for us to ascertain that learning has taken place through some kind of conditioning of their environment, then their behavior could be shaped. Learning could take place as we use reinforcement and punishment to let them behave the way the teacher wants them to behave. So behaviorism holds it that learning occurs through positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement, or negative or positive punishment. So we have discussed in class what these punishment and reinforcement are. The reinforcement is towards obtaining or getting the learner to show up the behavior that the teacher deems favorable or desirable. And then the other one, the opposite, the punishment, is employed when the teacher wants the learner to do less of their undesirable behavior. So these two factors, these two things are used to condition the environment of the learners, for which the teacher expects a certain predetermined or predictable behavior to be demonstrated by the learner. So that is one key principle. The second key principle is conditioning through repetition. Conditioning through repetition. We see this one too under behaviorism. So there is the importance of the learner repeating something over and over again as they become perfect in that. So there is that kind of repetition. So they learn through repeated exposure to stimuli and corresponding responses as their behavior becomes what the teacher wants. So there is that conditioning through repetition. Then another thing or another principle is the behavior of the learner, or the learner's ability to process things on their own, their ability to store things, or their ability to come to class with some prior knowledge or not. So we say there is passive learner. The learner is passive. So these passive learners are that kind of learners who are just recipient of the information that the teacher is giving them, or we usually talk about the stimuli, whatever they are picking through their senses, and then they respond in a certain way to it. So in other words, we are trying to say that he's a passive learner because everything that they are learning is what they are receiving from their teacher. The learner is not able to process things on their own, process information that they receive. So it is teacher-centered. What the teacher wants the learner to absorb or the learners to learn is what their learners are made to repeat over and over again for them to become master in that. So that becomes another principle that we use to describe behaviorism. So that is one. Then the second paradigm, which is the cognitivism, is a bit different from behaviorism, and we can describe that one too through these three principles. The first one is that there is active information processing. The learner is an active information processor. We have said a lot about this one in classroom, that this kind of paradigm or school of thought liken learning to the way a computer works, the functioning of a computer, where there is inputting of data, processing of that data, and then to a specific information that the one in charge wants. Then that information is stored for future retrieval. So there is that processing of information or data by the learner. So the learner is active. So there is learners actively engaged in information processing and interpretation. So that is one key thing that the cognitivism school of thought used to make learning different from that of behavioral. So for the behavioral, they were saying that they were not interested, or they are not interested in the kind of processing that is going on in the mind of the learner. But the cognitivists are interested, and they are more interested in what goes on in the processing. So they are not only interested in the input and the output, but they want to know what goes on in the processor. So that is the first thing. Then influence of prior knowledge. Influence of prior knowledge. So they are also of the view, the cognitivists are also of the view that new information that the learners receive are understood through existing knowledge that the learners have. In other words, they are trying to say that the learner has some kind of information already. So anything new that they receive from the teacher, they are now trying to reorganize it, rearrange it in their mind so that it gives them that knowledge set. So they talk about this kind of structuring and rearranging of information is what we sometimes refer to as mental structures, schema, for that matter. So information is organized in the mental framework. So new information that is received is now coming in connection with the old information they have, and then they repackage it so that anytime they want to retrieve what they have learned or information, they are able to retrieve that particular information. So this paradigm is different from that of the behaviorism, because they are not interested in seeing the learner showing any kind of behavioral change or exhibiting any behavior, but they are interested in the processing that goes on in the mind of the learner, their ability to capture information, process it, store it, and then retrieve it when the need arises. So basically and briefly, this is how we can describe the cognitivism to be. Then the third paradigm or school of thought, which is constructivism, is also different from the previous two that we have talked about. And here, there are key principles that make them stand out. Is the first one is knowledge construction. Knowledge construction. They are of the view that learners create their own understanding by engaging with the information that they are receiving, the content that they are receiving, and reflecting on it based on their experiences. And therefore it makes learning personal and subjective. So if you look at this one, they are trying to say that knowledge that the learners have acquired is subjective. Each person has their own set of knowledge, and every learner decides on what they should accept or they should keep as part of their knowledge set. So there is the subjectivity under constructivism as against behaviorism, where the teacher decides what is the truth, what is the worldview, what is knowledge, and therefore present it to the learner for them to absorb it just like that, without they critiquing it or challenging it or asking any questions. So here there is that freedom for the learner to decide on what they deem to be knowledge, or their own worldview is considered as the truth. So that is the first principle of constructivism. The second one is collaborative learning. Collaborative learning. Constructivism makes it possible for learners to have social interaction among themselves as peers, and with their instructors, their teachers, which the constructivists call them facilitators. You give them that opportunity to have the social negotiation, social interaction. So this person thinks this thing is black, and then another person says, no, it is not black. I see it as white. Okay, so why is it white and not black? Or why is it black? Why is it white and not black? And vice versa. So each person tries to have that negotiation, try to sort of prove to their friends or their colleagues, their peers, to understand that, or to accept or refine whatever knowledge they have, either to accept what they are receiving from their peers, or maybe accept it partly, or not to accept any at all. So this social negotiation is done for them to refine their ideas and develop deeper understanding of concept. So that is the second principle or characteristics of constructivism. And the third one is real-world problem solving. Real-world problem solving. This is another principle that makes constructivism different from the first two. So here, learning is most effective when it is rooted in authentic context, fostering critical thinking and application of skills. So here, the social negotiations and interactions that they have, it does not end there. They are manipulating with the real world problems, real world issues, real world material, and they have that touch with reality. So therefore, they are able to bring their own knowledge, their own feeling, their own understanding of what they have touched, they have felt into the picture when they are learning. So these three principles give us a simple or a basic description of learning in the view of the constructivist. So coming from this background, we can perceive learning not to be the same among learners. There may be instances that a teacher must make that judgment as to whether they will perceive learning to be behaviorist or cognitivist or constructivist. And once they are able to make that judgment, then the next question we ask ourselves is, how best can we integrate technology into this learning enterprise so that learning is facilitated, so that learning is more effective? So the learning theories matter a lot in a tech-driven classroom. So when we talk about tech-driven classroom, we are talking about that learning environment where technology is extensively used to support, enhance, and transform teaching and learning processes. So that environment in which we are using technology to engage, make learning engaging, enhance learning, and then extend learning. This is what we are talking about. So it integrated the various digital tools, devices, and resources to create engaging, interactive, and personalized educational experiences for the learners. So this is how we can describe the tech-driven classroom to be. So because technology is being integrated in, or is available in this tech-driven classroom, and it's going to be part of the learning process, then how do we see learning as teachers? Do we see it as behavioral in nature? Do we see it as cognitivist in nature or constructivist in nature. So any of these ways that learning could be described, any of them that we see learning to be, would have to inform how these technologies that are available in our classroom could be deployed or could be integrated into the instructional activities. So we say the learning paradigms matter when it comes to tech-driven classroom. So here are some of the key reasons why learning theories matter in a tech-driven classroom. So in the first instance, we say enlightening technology engagement. The learning paradigms enlighten technology integration. So the learning theories guide the selection and use of technology tools to ensure that they align with the educational goal. For example, the cognitivist paradigm has that subjectivity in nature. It has that principle of knowledge construction by the learner and all of that. So when a teacher is going to teach his class, which is well resourced as far as technology is concerned, then it emphasizes the active and hands-on learning experiences that they must bring to bear for the learners, because we want the learners to be engaging in some kind of activities which can be seen to be like the real world situation. So such technologies that will give the learners opportunity to operate as if they are within that real world situation, then we deploy such technologies. So examples of such technologies could be the use of collaborative tools, because we want learners to collaborate and have those social interactions. So there is a need for us to give them such tools so that they can come online and use applications like the Google Docs, which is a web-based application. So therefore, irrespective of their geographical location, they can all come together and be working on the same document, as each person has that ability to comment on what a peer has done, maybe delete what the peer has done, or ask questions about it. So it's giving them that platform to operate on. So irrespective of where they may find themselves, there is no need for them to move and converge at a particular geographical location, but they can be wherever they are and be part of the instructional activities. So this is one way that the learning paradigms can inform what the teacher could do in the classroom. On the other hand, the behaviorism, which is objectivity at work. A teacher is a sage. He's known. He is seen to know it all, and therefore he wants to pass knowledge to the learners, because the kind of knowledge that is there for them to learn may be so objective. There is a particular answer that is required. It may be a law that cannot be easily let the learners interpret it in their own way, but there is an objective meaning for it. So that is what the teacher must pass on to the learner. So they could let them go through that repetition of what is there for them to learn as the teacher introduces the reinforcement and the punishment if they get it right. So that is the first one. Then the learning paradigms matter in tech-driven classroom because there is encouraging effective teaching strategies. The teacher is being guided by the learning paradigms, and therefore he's able to use effective teaching strategies. So understanding theories such as the cognitive load theory, which associates with cognitivism, this ensures that multimedia content is designed to reduce the extraneous cognitive load and facilitating better comprehension and retention. So all that this one is saying is that if what needs to be taught is cognitive in nature, then it is in line with the cognitive load theory. So it's saying that the teacher could use multimedia to let the learners receive the exact thing that are needed to be learned, and then reduce or take away all extraneous content that will take the minds of the learners away onto something else which is not so important to what is being learned. So the best teaching strategies could be employed by the teacher when they are being guided by the theories. Then the social learning theory encourages the use of social media and collaborative platforms for peer-to-peer learning. So if what needs to be learned could be handled through the constructivist way, or learners have more experience and knowledge that they can bring on board as far as what they are learning is concerned, or the knowledge is subjective in nature, so they can make their own meaning and their own understanding, then the social learning theory comes to play, which encourages them to use social media platform or collaborative platform so that they can share ideas among themselves as learning is taking place. Then the teacher in the tech-driven classroom could be guided by the learning paradigms and design learner-centered experiences. The teacher could, based on the learning paradigms, and design learner-centered experiences. So lessons that require more of the learners to generate knowledge for themselves. Technology could be used to allow them for that kind of personalized learning or individualized learning, and let them have interaction with the content or with materials that are available, so that they make their own interpretation of the real world or the knowledge that they have to learn. Then the self-design of learner-centered content experiences could also be encouraged when we are using the multiple intelligence theories, okay, to inspire the educators to incorporate diverse multimedia elements that cater to different or diverse learning styles. So learners who have maybe difficulty learning when they are using their sense of hearing, maybe they have hearing impairedness, then it means they must rely more on other senses, maybe their visual senses, for them to catch up with whatever is being learned. So the multiple intelligence theory can come to play to make use of multimedia element to cater for different learning styles, learners with different learning styles. Then fourthly, we say that the learning paradigm is it matters in it matters in the tech-driven classroom because they support inclusive education. So where teachers want to educators want to embark on inclusive education, they are able to design resources or learning material for their learners because they know the learners and their characteristics. So they are doing something that will be beneficial to all manner of learners, maybe different ages, different gender, or different socioeconomic background and all of that. They can be guided by maybe universal design for learning to draw on learning theories to create accessible and flexible learning environment using technology. So this is another way that the learning theories matter in tech-driven classroom. Then the fifth one is that it is for driving innovation in assessment. If teachers are aware of the learning paradigm, the different learning paradigm, when it gets to the point that they are assessing learning, they are assessing how much learning has taken place in their learners through the use of technology, they will be guided to use adaptive testing materials to assess learners and the learning experiences that they have had. So that is another way, so that the teacher does not use one-size-fits-all way of assessing learning experiences among the learners. Those who are good at, let's say, writing essay, or those who are good at creating a product or making a product or reporting on some process, the technology will be used appropriately to make use or to make way for all these manner of learners. And as that is done, they could also be assessed through these same means. So therefore, there is no one rigid way of testing all the students who have different abilities and different capabilities. Then the sixth point is that the learning paradigm help us to ensure ethical and responsible use of technology. They help us to ensure ethical and responsible use of technology. The learning theories help the educators critically evaluate the use of technology to avoid potential downsides, such as over-reliance on devices or diminished face-to-face interaction. So in the instance that a teacher doesn't want to sideline any learner, they could just use appropriate technologies to present what they have for all of them, so that it is possible for them to take away a teacher seeing whoever is doing this, seeing their face and seeing their maybe gestures, and respond to those things in the course of the assessment. So it makes it more ethical for them, because the personal and emotional and other issues that will not make them have a level grounds for all of them is taken away. So these are the 6 ways through which technology classroom can be more effective when the teacher is aware of the learning theories or the learning paradigm. So we will briefly have a commercial break, and then when we come back, we open the lines for questions and concerns. Then we continue from there. Okay, so let's continue from there. So now I will open the phone lines and all the interactive handles so that you can bring in your questions or your concerns for us to discuss them. The number still remains 050 392 3158. 050 392 3158. Same number for WhatsApp and SMS. We are also streaming live on www.uew.edu.gh and Radio Windy Bay 98.3 FM. So the lines are open for your concerns and your questions.
Iconic initiate. Shine your eyes. Come on, let's unite. From
From the north to the south and central, we are one. Oh. Let's decide to pay that price. Yes, we aim providing higher education. No, just one name which belongs to me, that belongs to you. So let's join our hands and say to the world, what be the name? You in a view. Hey, what be the name? Boy? You in a view. What be the name? You in a view. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We hear you. You should be proud. Raise your voice, be loud. Oh. It's the best institution where teachers are trained. Oh. We will shape that future, making you the teacher. So if you dream big. All of the department and faculty, Spartans, Davians, Trojans, fast to unity. All of the affiliate of Simpa, Uni, got they agree. What be the name? You in a view. Hey, what be the name, boy? You in a view. What be the name? You in a view. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We hear you. See your name. It's in our hearts, so we're ready, fighting from the start. We will shape that future, making you the teacher. So if you dream big, all of the courses we run it. LKU, you know, we got it, we own it, and we're proud of it. So in our heart, it's your name. What be the name? You in a view. What be the name? From the north to the south and central, we are one. Oh. Let's decide to pay that price. Yes, we aim providing higher education. No, just one name which belongs to me, that belongs to you. So let's join our hands and say to the world, what be the name? You in a view. Hey, what be the name, boy? You in a view. What be the name? You in a view. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We hear you. You should be proud. Raise your voice, be loud. Oh. It's the best institution where teachers are trained. Oh. We will shape that future, making you the teacher. So if you dream big, all of the department and faculty, Spartans, Davians, Trojans, fast to unity. All of the affiliate of Simpa, Uni, got they agree. What be the name? You in a view. Hey, what be the name, boy? Your name is in our hearts, so we're ready, fighting from the start. We will shape that future, making you the teacher.
Okay, viewers and listeners, let's get back and continue from where we left off. We now want to read some few messages or concerns that have come through. So these are some few WhatsApp messages that we have, Facebook comments or messages that we have. So we have this one from Abandi Joseph. My name is Joseph Abandi from the Faculty of Science, Agriculture, Education. Thank you very much for your hard work to us. God richly bless you. Bless you too, Joseph. Then this is from Zori Edu. So he said this is Zo Edu from Agriculture Science Department. So let's hear more from you. Ask your question or concern. Then this one is from, I'm Mr. Achampon Obed, reading BSc of Agriculture Science. So, a great science student. Well done. Thanks for your presence. He said, watching you live from South Campus. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Then Sandra, I'm Ben Gruzon Richard, watching from RME department. Okay, thank you. Then we have this from Rebecca Damois. Say hi, watching you live from Jumako campus, Akane Nzima department. Okay, and this one is also from Audu Manoti Samuel. Audu Manoti Samuel, watching from Agric department. Okay, thanks for watching, but let's make it more interactive. Let's know what you want to add to what I have said, or let's have your questions and get deeper understanding of what is being taught. All right, thank you for coming through. So let's come to the point that we will try to make a conclusion, summarize all that we have done. The learning paradigms matter a lot as far as teaching and learning is concerned, and the effective learning environment often blend elements from the three paradigms. In other words, what a teacher wants to teach may depend on whether it is that objective knowledge that needs to be taught, or subjective knowledge that needs to be taught, or whether it could start as objective knowledge and then in the end the learners are allowed to make their subjective understanding of what is being taught. So it is important for us to be bothered by how learning is perceived when we are going through teaching and learning, having our lessons in a tech-driven classroom. The behaviorist strategies can establish fundamental skills through practice and reinforcement. However, the cognitivist approach then helps learners develop understanding by organizing information in meaningful ways. Finally, the constructivist approach allows the learners to apply knowledge in authentic context, in authentic environment. So, skills acquisition and application of knowledge that they have learned can all be seen under that. So, we can also say that these three learning paradigms could be integrated in a particular lesson. So, which aspect of a lesson or which of your learning objectives are that kind of expecting the learners to receive some objective knowledge. So if it is so, then that aspect could be tackled as a behaviorist approach. Then where they have to develop deeper understanding of the knowledge that they have received through they organizing their information in a certain way that they could easily recollect and reproduce. Then that is when the cognitivist approach comes in. Then whatever knowledge that they have acquired, they can apply it in that authentic or that real environment, and using collaborative interaction and all of that for learning to take place. So we are not saying that these paradigms are mutually exclusive. They sometimes, depending on what we want to teach, if the lesson is such that they are supposed to learn a particular thing as fact, as objective knowledge, then one of them could be used, which is the behaviorist. So the inverse is true. The others could be looked at where the knowledge should be subjective in nature, so they can have their own interpretation and their own application of what they have received. So in conclusion, I say that in a tech-driven classroom, learning theories are not optional. They are not optional. They are essential tools for ensuring that technology enhances learning. They are tools that make sure that technology enhances learning rather than detracting it. So it is important we take note of that. They empower educators to make informed decisions and adapt to diverse learners. We are bringing everybody on board, and then create an environment where technology truly supports meaningful learning, the kind of learning that they are able to put it into practice, apply it when the need arises. That is all that is about. So this takes us to the end of today's radio lecture. Thank you so much for taking part in this enterprise. God willing, we will meet again next week. Stay blessed.